Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Whiteboard Wednesdays with Werner. And once again, I have Richard with me. We've done the last two episodes together, spoke a bit about DevOps and around the broader service offering from Oxide Cloud Services. One of the things that we're doing, and obviously is very topical at the moment, is graphics processing units, right, or GPUs, and making that available. It's a premium commodity these days, is a NVIDIA GPU, and you have to shell out quite a few rands to acquire these days, and to actually make them efficient and effective. It's quite a jump from your GPU and your gaming desktop to where things have kind of gone these days, right? So this is a rabbit hole we could absolutely go down and, look at all the latest, stuff out there. But all we want to do today is kind of understand, Rich, from your side, what capabilities do we offer from an Oxide Cloud perspective in terms of access to GPU?
Okay, cool. So yeah, what we do is we provide, so to start out, if you wanted to start a GPU journey with us, you would reach out to us and you'd say, listen, we want to work
Start out with the GPU.
Start out with the GPU. And so what we typically do is we give you access to our generic GPUs.
Yeah.
So we have some enterprise grade GPUs that are good at most kinds of workloads. Yeah. And the idea there is that you can get a taste, you can start seeing how your workloads behave, because that's one of the things that I think people, particularly when they're starting out in the GPU journey, aren't aware of, is that GPUs are actually designed for different workloads. And if you get the wrong GPU, and it's a huge investment, if you get the wrong GPU, you stuck with that wrong GPU and you probably poured a fortune into the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that the GPU that you're consuming and buying is the right kind of GPU.
For your workload, right?
For your workload.
Yeah. More graphics orientated, more analytical, more AI, ML training,
exactly.
All of those kinds
exactly. of things. So these different workloads require completely different configurations of GPUs. So what we tend to do is we'll onboard you, we'll give you access to our GPUs, and we'll plumb them into that private network that we spoke about in a previous episode. We'll plumb that into your private network so that you can then start consuming it. We're not prescriptive about how it works. We can set it up so that it's operating, running with the appropriate drivers, and then you can you go with the thing.
Yeah. Kind of best practice kind of
stuff.
stuff.
Exactly. It's a best practice setup, and it's available to you as another IP address in your pool of servers.
Yeah.
And from there, then you can start loading whatever you want to load. And for example, in our development team, we've played with a great many different technologies, just experimenting and trying and seeing what makes sense for our various products that we're working on. We'll install things like a product called N8N, which quite a lot of sort of devs will have come across recently. It's becoming quite popular and quite in vogue, from a sort of drag and drop in terms of resources into your workflow.
It's like a workflow manager kind
exactly.
of, but really slick.
Very, very slick. It's got built-in plugins that goes and connects you to the various specific kinds of databases that make more sense in a GPU workflow. Something like that, or we'll deploy a local version of, some of the big models, the LLMs that people will use, and we'll deploy a local one, and we can then plug our various workflows into those and use a local LLM so that we aren't exposing our data to potential other outside users.
Correct.
So those are just a few of the kinds of samples and things that we play around with and use in our development flow.
So, I mean, just to kind of summarize, we, through, maybe using something on PaaS, you'll deploy your N8N in a PaaS container, for instance, right? As a Docker container hosted over there that can start, putting together quite a big portion of your ML ops, kind of workflow and pipelining and getting things. We can provide you with S3 storage.
Yep.
So if you, looking at potentially something like document extraction, RAG, that type of thing, we can provide you with that type of platform, and then obviously connect you to a GPU processing unit. So kind of the primary components when it comes to, starting to work with a AI or ML or GPU related, kinds
of tasks.
Yeah. Yes. We have that ability to plumb those in.
Exactly. And most of them are self-service, and the ones that aren't are delivered in fairly short order.
Yeah.
So, and again, in your ML pipeline, you might want a specific kind of database, and there's several different flavors, half of which are drop downs in the PaaS solution.
Yeah.
So I want one of these, I want one of these, I want one of these. You go to your product like the N8N or whatever it is you've chosen, and say, I've got a Postgres DB.
Yeah.
Here are the credentials.
Yeah.
Off it goes. You don't have to build it manually and mess around with it.
Yeah.
It's just there, and you start consuming it.
Beautiful. So, I mean, that definitely gives us some options. I know some of the latest, or some of the newer kind of platforms in terms of data is vector databases, very much used in RAG, obviously for coordinate storage and that type of stuff. So, and there's quite a few out there.
Yeah.
And I think that race is still, well, not a race, but, there's a lot of development still happening in that arena, right? Specifically in that arena. So, you can pick the flavor if you want to use Pinecone or what's it, Riverless, or I can't remember the name.
There's a million of them.
There's so many, right? You can choose and then obviously instantiate that and start testing,
start consuming,
and use it, right? At a very simple way of doing that. So it's a strength that we have. At the moment, we have kind of one flavor of GPU because that's kind of where we kicked it off. And, we love to hear demand from the market. Where do you guys see this going? What would you like access to in terms of GPU platforms? And then, you could have a share in how we roadmap this out. So please, reach out to us and share with us what you're looking to do. And we're going to try and do that on OCS. Thank you very much for joining us with another episode of Whiteboard Wednesdays with Werner. Richard, thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome.
Cheers.